Hey, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie Martindale, and I am an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about something that I am very passionate about because along my journey of being with Plexus, I've been with Plexus for over 5 years, and this is something that has played a very important part of my journey. And that is how to share what you're doing with those people who are closest to you. We like to call those people our shareholders. And those people for me was definitely my family. It took a little while for them to catch the vision, if you know what I mean. At the very beginning, when I first started, they didn't really understand. They didn't know what I was doing. They knew I was taking the products and they were all on board for that. My husband was very supportive. My family, like my parents and my brothers and sisters, everybody was super supportive of the products. That has never been an issue. But what happened was once I started to share and started to do a little bit more of the business aspect of Plexus, some people in my family got a little taken back. They felt like what I was doing was taking away from my family. And my biggest why and the biggest thing that I started doing the business for was to spend time with my family, to have more time, to have the time freedom to be where I needed to be when I needed to be there. But that came with some sacrifices. So along my journey, I did some sacrificing. Instead of staying up and watching TV at night, I would work my business. I would get on Zoom calls. I would do things like that. I was on my phone a lot. And like most of you who, if you're just starting out, as soon as you get a message from somebody or somebody asks you a question, you feel like you need to give immediate feedback. You need to answer those questions. You need to be there for your people, to help them, to do whatever they need for you, because somebody was there for you when you first started. And so we struggled. We struggled a lot. I have 3 little kids at home, and my husband didn't quite understand what I was doing. My kids didn't quite understand why I was on my phone all the time. One of the reasons is because I was really bad at sharing that with them until I saw a training about sharing with your stakeholders and how important it is to let your loved ones know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And so a couple years ago, after I did that training, I sat down with my family. We sat at the kitchen table and I started to share my dreams with them. Most of my dreams include them traveling, doing things with my kids, letting my husband retire early, building a dream house for us. Things that I dream were dreams for my family, to spend more time together as a family, to be able to go on the trips, to not live paycheck to paycheck, to not have to tell our kids, no, you can't do that because we can't afford it. I never wanted to have to do that. And my kids were getting older and the things that they were doing were starting to get super expensive. So we needed to have that conversation. At that time, I was just senior gold. I had not ranked to emerald yet. And so I was really just kind of still dipping my feet into the business and what that entailed. I had started doing accountability calls. I was doing Zoom events. Just a lot of things were happening. And so one night I sat my family down and I sat them down and shared my dreams. But I also listened to what they dreamed, what they wanted, what it would mean for our family if mom worked Plexus. If mom worked Plexus full time, what that would look like. And so we continue to have these meetings about every 6 months as we start pulling dreams off our dream board, because we've been able to do those, or we put new dreams up. We talk about them about every 6 months. Now, in the beginning, you might need to talk to them a little bit more. Maybe things are going to start going a little quicker for you, and you need to reevaluate what you're doing a little sooner than 6 months, and that's fine. But once I started to involve my family, it was so much more fun. They started getting into it. Now, my son, he's 10 years old. He can recite more about Plexus than probably most adults who are sharing it. He knows the comp plan forwards and backwards. He knows every rank and what it takes. But the funnest part of the whole thing is that they cheer me on. They know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and they start to cheer you on. And then instead of being that guilt factor and like, okay, I'm working my business over here, but I feel guilty that I'm not with my family. And when I'm with my family, I feel guilty that I'm not working my business. I started to find some balance in that. And it's not going to be 50-50 balance that you work your business 50% of the time and you're with your family. It's not going to be like that. There are going to be seasons of ups and downs, hills and valleys, where you have to put a lot of time into your Plexus stuff. Maybe you're running for a rank up. When I was running for Emerald, I sat at my kitchen table almost all day, every day, because I was working. I was running pretty much from May until July. I sat at that kitchen table every morning. We wake up, we'd go for a walk, and then I'd go to work. But they learned what that looked like, and they started cheering me on. And I remember the day, or the week I was running for Ruby, and my little girl at the time was not quite 6 years old, and she was sitting there next to me, and she colored a picture, and she goes, "Mom, could you spell Ruby for me?" And so I spelled Ruby for her. And when I looked up, she had made a sign that said, "My mom is Ruby." And so we hung that on our refrigerator and we looked at it every day. And 3 days later, we ranked a senior Ruby within the same month, 3 days apart. And then 2 months later, we went Emerald, because my family started to buy in. They started to see what the vision looked like. And then in May, actually it was March of 2021, I sat my family down again, and my husband and I had many conversations, but I sat them down as a whole, and I shared with them that I was going to be able to resign from teaching. And at first my kids were a little nervous because they were like, "Oh my gosh, my mom's not going to be at school anymore. Like, we can't go to her classroom in the mornings. What's that going to look like?" And so we had to have that discussion. We had to have the discussion of what that was going to look like. Mom's going to be home every day to wake you up and drop you off at school. Mom's going to be there at 3:30 to pick you up. Mom is going to be able to go on the field trips and to pick you up if you're sick, and all the things that entailed. It was so important that we sat down and had that discussion as a family. Because if you're trying to do this all alone and you're not sharing your goals and your push and your struggles and what you are doing, you're going to look like you're just sitting on your phone. You're going to look like you're that mom that's off in the distance, or that dad that's off in the distance, not involved. And the reason so many of us are doing this is so that we can be involved, so we can share all the moments and the memories. And sometimes that is going to take a little sacrifice. And so there were a number of nights that I put my kids to bed at 8:30, and I would stay up until 11 o'clock or midnight working my business. My husband and I had to have that discussion that I'm not going to come to bed at 10 o'clock. I have work to do, because at that time I was working a full-time job. And so as our seasons have changed, we've had a lot of discussions about where we are going to be. and what this business and this opportunity can do for our family. And so I want to challenge you this week to sit down with your shareholders, to sit down with the people that are there, are your support system, and share what you are doing and why you are doing it, because that's all they want to know. They are going to be your biggest support, but they're also going to be the ones that want the most of your time. And so if you can sit down and have that discussion, you're going to feel that weight lifted off of you, because you're going to be able to speak freely. My kids now know when I come into this room and my door is shut, that means mom's on a meeting and mom is working. I put it on our calendar. Every night I have a team event or an accountability call, because I feel like it is important that they see what I'm doing as my job. Some people now just think I'm a stay-at-home mom and I just stay home all day. They don't see the work that I'm doing day in and day out. And so it's very important that you share that with people. You share the ins and outs of what you are doing with the ones that you want by your side to support you. Because if you don't, there's going to be struggles. And I went through those struggles because I was really bad at communicating what I was doing. And so this week, I want you to sit down. I want you to have those conversations. Let your shareholders voice their concerns, voice their opinions, because the biggest thing, they don't just want a mom on their phone. So you have to find that balance of when you're going to work your business, when you're going to be part of the family things, and what you're going to be able to sacrifice to make it all mesh and make it all work together, because those sacrifices in the end are going to pay off huge for your family. And you need to just be able to have those conversations, but start to understand what your family wants from this opportunity too, because it's not all about you. It's about your family and your support system and what this opportunity is going to do for everybody. So I hope this was helpful and just gave you some ideas on how to speak to those people in your life. And I hope that conversation goes so well for you. We'll talk to you later.